I'm gonna just get down to it, y'all. I don't like Gina. I don't like Gina at all. I don't like seeing her on my television screen. I don't like the fact that my boy Clint was matched with someone who was just so unworthy of him. I'm just gonna go out and say it. I don't think Gina is worthy of Clint. Okay, I think that Clint has tried a whole lot more than she has in this process. I think that Clint deserved someone who would meet him halfway, and this woman was not trying to meet him halfway at all. Clint had said at one of the after parties, he had said that when the cameras are not there, there's no communication between us. She doesn't talk to me. We don't interact. The only interaction that they really get is when the cameras are there. So she's been checked out of this marriage since I don't know when, since before they even moved in with one another. The fact that she would, criticize him, I don't want to rehash old issues, but the fact that she would criticize this man, and tell him, I don't really date gingers, it seemed really superficial. It seemed like she was really not interested in, being matched with a human. She wanted to be matched with a look, because who cares what the hell color hair he has? Who cares about that? Why would you tell someone that? Like I said, I'm not trying to rehash stuff that happened weeks and weeks and weeks ago, but I don't like Gina. I don't want to talk about, look, y'all, they did my boy wrong. They did my boy dirty by forcing him to be with this woman. I wish that, as much as I enjoy watching Clint, as much as I think he's, fun to watch, they should have called it quits a long time ago. These people were not even trying to work on their marriage. I think that Clint put in more of an effort than Gina, because he was the one that begged her to come live with him. Well, she didn't even want to move in with this guy. He begged her to live with him, because if they were going to give this marriage a fighting chance, they had to live together as husband and wife, as far as he was concerned. And the compromise was that she would move in, but she wouldn't share a room with him. I think Gina is awful. I think that she's not good enough for Clint. I think she has no personality, even though she wants to criticize his personality. She wants to talk about him being cringy and giving her secondhand embarrassment, and that he takes his jokes too far, or whatever the hell she said about his personality. But girl, you have no personality. How can you criticize someone with a personality when you yourself have no personality? How does that work? Make it make sense. Draw me a diagram, a graph, picture, something for me to understand how someone with no personality feels like they have the right to criticize someone with a personality. That's like someone who is poor and broke and has no money will have the right to criticize a millionaire on how they spend their money. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. So let's talk about McKinley for a second, since we're on the topic of Clint and Gina. I think McKinley is foul. I think he's wrong. I think he's a jerk. And I think he's disgusting. You are trying to holler at a married woman when she is still in her marriage, and you don't know what the hell they're going to say on decision day, unless you and Gina have been communicating behind Clint's back, and Gina has already told you that she's going to give you a chance after she says no to Clint on decision day. If I hear rumors that that Gina and McKinley have hooked up after this show was over, I'm going to be I'm going to be, as hard as it is for me to be even more disgusted by Gina, I will be even more disgusted by Gina, because here you are making Clint look like a damn fool by carrying on with McKinley behind his back when you couldn't even, I'm not even going to go there. Something had told me that maybe the reason why she's so distant with Clint, maybe because she has been communicating with McKinley this whole entire time. Maybe they do have something going on. Maybe as soon as he moved out of that apartment, he hit up Gina, because we never got, why didn't they tell us what Gina's side of the story was? Why didn't we hear her say, yeah, McKinley slid into my DMs, but I ignored him, or I blocked him, or I rejected him, or I told him politely, thanks, but no thanks? How come we didn't hear that from Gina? Why didn't we hear her side of this? We only hear his side. He told Eris that he thought that she's attractive. He thought that she was attractive, and that, she knows these celebrities, and so he was trying to hook up with some famous singer through Gina or something. And then I don't know, his story was so convoluted, it made no sense to me. He was trying to use Gina to hook up with some famous singer, knowing that he didn't even have a chance with this famous singer. And so then he decided to holler at Gina. I don't know, but McKinley, if that's what you're, because you said, McKinley said that I think she's a very beautiful woman, etc., etc. Then you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. You're wrong to go into her DMs trying to holler at her, and you're wrong to talk about this on camera. You're absolutely wrong. And I'm glad that Eris decided to stay out of it. Now, Clint might feel betrayed by Eris for not telling him, but I'm glad that Eris decided to stay out of it, because we know what happens to the messenger. So he's like, you know what's none of my business. Because Clint's going to see this anyway, so he's going to have a chance to address this at some point. So there really was no need, in my opinion, for Eris to go and run tell that to Clint. They go horseback riding and they have a picnic, and Clint wants to talk about her comments, and he tells her how the comments affected him, how he felt about him, and that he was blindsided by it because she doesn't even mention these things when they're together because she doesn't talk to him. So Gina tries to clarify herself, but she fails miserably. I have no idea what her excuse was for attacking this man's personality, because when they were talking to the expert, I think it was Dr. Pepper, was it Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal, when she told them that, oh, he's so cringy. I wonder if she thought that Clint was going to somehow retaliate and say something about her, and then they can start going back and forth, and then it could be like, you see, this is why we can't work together. It was just she was being very insulting, because not only is she criticizing someone with a personality when she has none, but she's also criticizing someone who probably has the best personality compared to the other husbands. Now, when you put Clint up against Chris has no personality. I'm sorry. I know that we love to idolize this whole Chris and Nicole romance because they're most likely to say yes to one another. And they put on this show that they dig deep into their soul. They dig deep into their childhood. They have these very in-depth conversations about their past trauma and how they really are, they want to be there for one another. And they go through the motions of being like the perfect couple. So I understand that, maybe people are going to probably take it some kind of way that I'm comparing Clint to Chris, but Chris has no personality to me. Yes, he loves and he adores Nicole, and he follows her around like a lost puppy, and she controls that man like something I've never seen before in my life, but he has no personality. I don't think that Chris's facial expressions are very limited. He doesn't really express or emote anything with his face. It's hard to tell what mood Chris is in. You don't know if he's angry. You don't know if he's happy. You don't know if he's sad. You have no idea because his facial expression is frozen. It's frozen into something that is expressionless. So, compare Clint to Chris. Clint is the life of the party. Chris is just there. The most interesting thing about Chris is the fact that he lost a part of his finger. That's the most interesting fun fact about Chris. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else you want me to say about Chris. He has no personality. And Nicole is going to run all over him. Well, I'll get to Nicole and Chris later. But compared to Clint, Chris has no personality. If you're going to compare Clint, let's say, to Eris, at least Clint didn't go out of his way to make his wife feel unwanted, undesired. Because Jasmine tried. In the beginning, she tried to, get all physical with Eris. He wasn't interested. Now, Clint has not tried that with Gina, but I'm pretty sure if Gina did, Gina did not try that with Clint, but I'm pretty sure that if Gina did try to get physical with him, I don't think that he would have rejected her the way Eris rejected Jasmine. Okay, so at least Clint is not going out of his way to make his wife feel unwanted and undesired, whatever. Even though he said what he said at the honeymoon, that he normally goes for a more athletic type of body or whatever he said, it was all in retaliation of what she had said about her not liking gingers. Okay, fine. Compare Clint to Shaq. Shaq always seems like he is unhappy, that he's bothered about something. Sometimes, Kirsten will talk to Shaq and then he'll just stare at her without even really responding. He'll take like literally like 15, 20 seconds before he responds. And so she'll say whatever she has to say to him. And then he's just looking at her. And I'm like, are you not going to respond? And then he'll give his answer. So Shaq to me has seemed uncomfortable practically from the beginning, ever since the honeymoon, because Kirsten rejected him. And, in the beginning, she did reject him. So I felt like ever since then, Shaq really hasn't, recovered from that. I don't know. But Shaq, to me, every time they're together, he's uncomfortable to me. I don't know why, but he seems really uncomfortable. So compare Clint to Shaq. Come on now. So this season, Clint has the best personality. And Gina, you have the audacity to complain and to say that he's cringy and that you get secondhand embarrassment. Everybody will have, not everybody has, there's nobody here whose personality is absolutely perfect. But Clint is the only one that makes me laugh, that makes me smile compared to the other husbands. Clint is the only one that I feel like if it doesn't work out with Gina, he'll be fine. He'll find somebody else in no time. He'll be fine. He'll be absolutely fine. The other ones, I kind of worry about them if it doesn't work out with the particular wives that Eris, we know he's going to jump right back in. Ain't no problem with Eris either. But moving on. So I don't like Gina. I don't know if she's been communicating or reciprocating any of McKinley's advances. I really don't know, because I had wondered if maybe they were communicating, and that's the reason why she really doesn't want to get too involved with Clint, because her heart is already taken by McKinley. But honey, if you want stuffy, stuck up McKinley, go for it. Moving on to Kirsten and Shaquille. So Kirsten and Shaquille, they go and make a song, and they go to this songwriting lady, and she is able to listen to them as they talk about their relationship, and she puts it all in a song. And so fine, it's cute, it's whatever. Then they talk about family. Shaquille really wants to meet the rest of her family because it's going to help him make his decision on decision day to see if he can really see himself fitting into her family. And Kirsten told him that after the show or after decision day, he'll have an opportunity to meet everybody. So I guess the assumption is they're both going to say yes on decision day, because what purpose would he have to meet her family if they say no? So I could have sworn she said that after the show or after decision day, you'll have a chance to meet everyone. Then Shaq tells her that he doesn't really feel secure in the relationship and that he doesn't feel supported in the relationship. I wish he would expound on that a little bit more and give us examples and details of where he felt unsupported or he felt insecure in the relationship, but he really doesn't. So I hope he's not harping on that incident when she didn't go with him to his business trip. I hope he's not harping on that still, but he doesn't really explain much on how she's not showing up for him. Kirsten says that she believes that she is showing support, but not when and how he wants. She does it in her own way, and so he should accept that, because her own way is the only way that she knows to show support. I think he tried to tell her, you talk a good game, but you really don't follow up with any action. I think that's what he was trying to imply when she said to him, but I do support you. I do support you. And he kind of is like, well, I don't see it. But he doesn't explain how he doesn't see it. So then they have a visit with Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal. And we find out that Shaquille did meet Kirsten's dad, which made me feel very confused, because I was like, I thought she said that he was going to meet her family after the show, but he already met the dad and it was a good visit. And he says that he really regrets not meeting them sooner. And Dr. Pepper says, well, families are different. This particular family didn't want to be on camera. And I wish Kirsten would have just said that, because I always thought that maybe the family is not comfortable being on camera. Why didn't she just say that in the beginning? I know you want to meet my family, but we're on a reality TV show and they want no part of this. Then they could have made arrangements like they did eventually for him to meet them without the cameras. So when Shaquille is hanging out with the guys, he tells the guys that Kirsten's dad was really cool, that he was loving, caring, and he was even cooking for his granddaughter when he met him. And he says that him and Kirsten haven't really had fun in this process. Yeah, I can tell. I can really, really tell. Shaquille, to me, I don't know if I don't know what's wrong with him, but he never seems happy. He never seems relaxed. He never seems, comfortable. Now, on Reddit, I made the awful mistake of going on Reddit, and I fell into the whole rabbit hole of Married at First Sight. And there's a thread there about Shaquille, and they're talking about maybe the possibility of Shaquille being in the closet, that he might be gay, and that he's not out yet. And maybe that's why there's this tension or this discomfort between him and Kirsten, because he's really in the closet and he's not out. And then someone on Reddit had said something about how to prove that he might be gay, because they are no longer intimate. I didn't know that they were no longer intimate, because they don't really talk about that. We know that it happened, but we don't know how often it happened after that. So they were saying on Reddit, that's why they're no longer intimate, because he's struggling with his sexuality. This is something that I feel like a lot of us thought when we first saw Shaquille, that maybe he might be in the closet or he might be struggling with his sexual identity. But I didn't want to talk about it because he's not talking about it. I didn't want to talk about it because I don't know. I don't know what turns him on, what doesn't turn him on. I have no idea. So I didn't feel comfortable speculating that. But I feel like, when she talks about him not being masculine enough, not being dominant enough, and that's what she really wants in a man, that crossed my mind. But I don't know. And I just didn't feel comfortable talking about it. And of course, masculinity and homosexuality, it is, just because you're not masculine doesn't mean that you're a homosexual, because there's some very masculine, homosexual men. So I'm not implying that, but it crossed my mind, but I don't know. So I just assumed that he was very metrosexual. He was just one of those guys, one of those straight guys that is very much in tune with his feelings and his emotions. And, he's very in tune with his appearance, and he wants to look a certain way, and he's very clean cut. I don't know. I'm not here to say whether he is or he isn't. It's not my place to say, because he's not talking about it. So I just was like, I felt like, because she had not rejected him, but because it took a long time for her to warm up to him. And then by the time that she was finally open and ready, he was over it. Clint asked Shaquille if he can see himself single again, and he said no, he cannot see himself single again. He does not want to be single again. He likes the companionship, he likes being married, and it is what it is. Moving on to Chris and Nicole. So they're having dinner. Nicole brings up the whole living situation. She wants to know when and where will they live together after decision day. Chris tells her that she needs to wait until after decision day. I'm pretty sure Chris is probably planning some corny surprise that on decision day he's going to be like, and we can move in as soon as we leave from here, we can move in with one another. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. But he wants to keep her on her toes. He doesn't want to give her an answer. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to give in to her. He still wants to kind of like stand his ground and be like, hey, we're not going to talk about it now. We'll talk about it later. And that's just what it is. So when they are together, when she's out with the girls, Nicole tells him that she wants Chris to make his decision based on what he wants and not based on protecting her feelings. But girl, you're not giving any indication that you want him to make his own decisions in anything. Because when you wanted him to wear that stupid dinosaur costume to breakfast at the couples retreat, he said he didn't want to do that, but you forced him to. So he told you exactly what he didn't want to do. He didn't care about your feelings being hurt, but you still forced him. And so he did it. So you're not giving me the indication that you allow this man to make his own decisions. Nicole is very lucky that they matched her with someone who is so desperate to be in a relationship. I'm going to call a thing a thing. I'm going to say it like exactly how I see it. This is my own personal opinion. I think Chris is so desperate to be in a relationship that it didn't matter who they matched him with. He was going to fall in love. Everything that he's ever said to Nicole, he would have said to anybody else that they matched him with if they were willing to meet him halfway in this relationship. And because Nicole was all in, it was really easy for him to be all in. So Nicole is a handful. Okay, she's bossy, she's demanding, she's domineering, she's very self-critical. All of these things I think could have very easily have driven away any other man. But because Chris just wants to be in a relationship so bad, he accepts it and he's patient with her. He's got the patience of Job. So she's very lucky that they matched her with Chris. So girls night, a group of single men approached the women, and I don't know how this conversation got started, but all of a sudden I see Nicole defending Chris with these strangers, telling them, or she's trying to convince them that, her guy really is an alpha guy, or he's not that much of a beta, because it kept on saying, oh, your husband's a beta, your husband's a beta. And the only reason why they would say that is because I'm assuming she would have told them that her husband was a beta, or that she was the one that was more controlling. I did hear her say, I'm the alpha in the relationship. So then when they were poking fun at Chris, not knowing who the hell he was, but just poking fun at him, she got defensive, and she was like, no, you don't understand. Girl, we understand. He's a beta, you're an alpha, you control the situation, you run him, he does what you say because he's probably very much afraid of you. Moving on to Eris and Jasmine. They get a visit from Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper. The visit was really well. I mean, they really impressed the experts because they talked about how much their relationship has evolved. Eris talks about how he finally now understands that intimacy is beyond sex. And so when he got that, when the light bulb went off, that you can be intimate without having sex, things got better between him and Jasmine. They connected on a whole nother level. And it was beautiful when he said that normally when he's in an uncomfortable situation, he runs to alcohol to kind of relax him. But whenever Jasmine's with him now, he says that she calms him. So whenever he's uncomfortable, or if he has any kind of anxiety and she's there with him, her presence calms him down. And it was a beautiful thing to say. He knows how to say the right thing because, he's a player. So when he's hanging out with the guys, Clint asked him if he missed the single life. He said yes and no, but it was more no than yes, because all he talked about was how much he missed Jasmine when he had to come back early from the couples retreat. He was in the apartment by himself and he missed her so much, and he missed her dog. So it seems like things are working out between them, that things are coming around. Now, when Jasmine is hanging out with the girls, she tells the girls how Eris told the experts that things could get better after decision day. Why wait until after decision day? Why can't they get better right now? So a group of single men, like I said, a group of these single guys approached them. One of them took a special interest in Jasmine because they had the whole dog breeding thing in common. And even when she was doing her confessional, he just came and interrupted her confessional and started macking on her. He wanted her to leave with him, and he talked about how he's got his 740. I'm assuming that's a Mercedes or something, some type of luxury car, waiting outside, trying to impress her with the fact that he owns a luxury car. He owns multiple luxury cars. He was doing his best to get at her, to get her. And y'all, I felt like Jasmine was like seriously contemplating it, but she knew the cameras were there. And so I'm assuming she rejected him. But Nicole tells Chris, when she's telling him about their night out, Nicole tells Chris that there were numbers being passed around. And I was like, who was accepting numbers? Was it Jasmine? Was it Kirsten? Who the hell was accepting numbers from these guys? But that's what Nicole said. And we know a lot goes on when the cameras are off with reality TV in general, and with this group of people specifically. A lot happens when the cameras are not there. I didn't watch whatever little show that they had after the episodes. I have no idea if more information was given during that show, because it wasn't the after party, it was something else. So I don't know, but y'all, it kind of looked like, and you know what, another thing about Jasmine is, I don't know if she's like a pick me or what the hell's going on with Jasmine, but Jasmine, her personality was dead in the water this whole entire time when Eris had told her that he wasn't attracted to her. Her personality was dead. She was gone. As soon as he began showing her some attention, all of a sudden she opens up. She's a lot more livelier. She's happier. And it's like she was just waiting, desperately waiting in the shadows for this man to give her a scintilla of his attention. And now she's back. The old Jasmine is back. And I'm thinking to myself, This man has that much power over you to like completely change your personality in that way because he gave you a little bit of attention. But y'all, the purpose of the show is to find marriage. And if this is how it's going to work out for them, then this is how it's going to work out for them. We can only wish them the best. Gina, I don't like you. It really bothers me how you want to constantly bring down Clint. It really, really bothers me because for the most part, it seems like the rest of the cast, they like Clint. Everybody likes Clint except Gina. Even Kirsten stands up for Clint. And she did it at the after party a couple of times. She stood up for Clint. She doesn't even like her own husband. She barely likes Shaq. But she stood up for Clint. And she likes Clint. Everybody likes Clint except for Gina. I don't know. Well, I wish you and McKinley well, Gina. Because, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.